Educational software is computer software, the primary purpose of which is teaching or self-learning. History: 1940s, 1970s. The use of computer hardware and software in education and training dates to the early 1940s, when American researchers developed flight simulators which used analog computers to generate simulated onboard instrument data. One such system was the Type 19 synthetic radar trainer, built in 1943. From these early attempts in the World War II era through the mid-1970s, educational software was directly tied to the hardware, usually mainframe computers, on which it ran. Pioneering educational computer systems in this era included the Plato system, developed at the University of Illinois, and TICCIT. In 1963, IBM had established a partnership with Stanford University's Institute for Mathematical Studies in the Social Sciences, directed by Patrick Suppes, to develop the first comprehensive Chi elementary school curriculum, which was implemented on a large scale in schools in both California and Mississippi. In 1967, Computer Curriculum Corporation was formed to market to schools the materials developed through the IBM partnership. Early terminals that ran educational systems cost over $10,000, putting them out of reach of most institutions. Some programming languages from this period, particularly BASIC and Logo, can also be considered educational, as they were specifically targeted to students and novice computer users. The Plato IV System, released in 1972, supported many features which later became standard in educational software running on home computers. Its features included bitmap graphics, primitive sound generation, and support for non-keyboard input devices, including the touchscreen. 1970s–1980s. The arrival of the personal computer, with the Altair 8800 in 1975, changed the field of software in general, with specific implications for educational software. Whereas users prior to 1975 were dependent upon university or government-owned mainframe computers with time-sharing, users after this shift could create and use software for computers in homes and schools, computers available for less than $2,000. By the early 1980s, the availability of personal computers including the Apple II, Commodore PET, Commodore VIC-20, and Commodore 64 allowed for the creation of companies and non-profits which specialized in educational software. Broderbund and the Learning Company are key companies from this period, and MECC, the Minnesota Educational Computing Consortium, a key non-profit software developer. These and other companies designed a range of titles for personal computers, with the bulk of the software initially developed for the Apple II. 1990s. Major developments in educational software in the early and mid-1990s were made possible by advances in computer hardware. Multimedia graphics and sound were increasingly used in educational programs. CD-ROMs became the preferred method for content delivery, with several digital encyclopedias released as multimedia application CD-ROMs. With the spread of the Internet in the second half of the 1990s, new methods of educational software delivery appeared. In the history of virtual learning environments, the 1990s were a time of growth for educational software systems, primarily due to the advent of the affordable computer and of the Internet. Today, higher education institutions use virtual learning environments like Blackboard Inc. to provide greater accessibility to learners. Types. Courseware. Courseware is a term that combines the words course with software. Its meaning originally was used to describe additional educational material intended as kits for teachers or trainers or as tutorials for students, usually packaged for use with a computer. The term's meaning and usage has expanded and can refer to the entire course and any additional material when used in reference an online or computer-formatted classroom. Many companies are using the term to describe the entire package, consisting of one class or course bundled together with the various lessons, tests, and other material needed. The courseware itself can be in different formats. Some are only available online, such as Hotmail pages, while others can be downloaded in PDF files or other types of document files. Many forms of educational technology are now being blended with the term courseware. Most leading educational companies solicit or include courseware with their training packages. Classroom-made Some educational software is designed for use in school classrooms. Typically, such software may be projected onto a large whiteboard at the front of the class or run simultaneously on a network of desktop computers in a classroom. This type of software is often called classroom management software, while teachers often choose to use educational software from other categories in their IT suites. A whole category of educational software has grown up specifically intended to assist classroom teaching. Branding has been less strong in this category than in those oriented towards home users. Software titles are often very specialized and produced by various manufacturers, including many established educational book publishers. Assessment software with the impact of environmental damage and the need for institutions to become paperless. More educational institutions are seeking alternative ways of assessment and testing, which has always traditionally been known to use up vast amount of paper. Assessment software refers to software with a primary purpose of assessing and testing students in a virtual environment. Assessment software allows students to complete tests and examinations using a computer, usually networked. The software then scores each test transcript and outputs results for each student. Assessment software is available in various delivery methods, the most popular being self-hosted software, online software and handheld voting systems. Proprietary software and open-source software systems are available, while technically falling into the courseware category. Skill Evaluation Lab is an example for computer-based assessment software with PPA2 methodology to create and conduct computer-based online examination. Moodle is an example of open-source software with an assessment component that is gaining popularity. Other popular international assessment systems include EvalueNet XT and QuestBase. Reference software. Many publishers of print dictionaries and encyclopedias have been involved in the production of educational reference software. Since the mid-1990s, they were joined in the reference software market by both startup companies and established software publishers, most notably Microsoft. The first commercial reference software products were reformulations of existing content into CD-ROM editions, often supplemented with new multimedia content, including compressed video and sound. More recent products made use of Internet technologies to supplement CD-ROM products, then, more recently, to replace them entirely. Wikipedia and its offspins marked a new departure in educational reference software. Previously, encyclopedias and dictionaries had compiled their contents on the basis of invited and closed teams of specialists. The wiki concept has allowed for the development of collaborative reference works through open cooperation incorporating experts and non-experts. Custom platforms. Some manufacturers regarded normal personal computers as an inappropriate platform for learning software for younger children and produced custom child-friendly pieces of hardware instead. The hardware and software is generally combined into a single product, such as a child laptop lookalike. The laptop keyboard for younger children follows an alphabetic order and the QWERTY order for the older ones. The most well-known example are Leapfrog products. These include imaginatively designed handheld consoles with a variety of pluggable educational game cartridges and book-like electronic devices into which a variety of electronic books can be loaded. These products are more portable than general laptop computers, but have a much more limited range of purposes, concentrating on literacy, corporate training and tertiary education. Earlier educational software for the important corporate and tertiary education markets was designed to run on a single desktop computer. In the years immediately following 2000, planners decided to switch to server-based applications with a high degree of standardization. This means that educational software runs primarily on servers which may be hundreds or thousands of miles from the actual user. The user only receives tiny pieces of a learning module or test, fed over the internet one by one. The server software decides on what learning material to distribute, collects results and displays progress to teaching staff. Another way of expressing this change is to say that educational software morphed into an online educational service. U.S. governmental endorsements and approval systems ensured the rapid switch to the new way of managing and distributing learning material. See also SCORM, Virtual Learning Environment, LMS, Web-based training. Specific educational purposes. There are highly specific niche markets for educational software, including teacher tools and classroom management software, driving test software, interactive geometry software, language learning software, mind mapping software which provides a focal point for discussion, helps make classes more interactive, and assists students with studying, essays and projects. Note-taking software for enabling simulated dissection of human and animal bodies, spelling tutor software, typing tutors, medical and healthcare educational software. Some operating systems and mobile phones have video games to teach users how to use the system. A notable example is Microsoft's Solitaire, which was developed to familiarize users with the use of graphical user interfaces, especially the mouse and the drag-and-drop technique. Operating systems. While mainstream operating systems are designed for general usages, and they're more or less customized for education only by the application sets added to them, a variety of software manufacturers, especially Linux distributions, have sought to provide integrated platforms for specifically education. Selected reports and academic articles. Vervu, M. Katsianish, G. and Manos. Combining software games with education. Evaluation of its educational effectiveness. Educational Technology and Society. 8. 54-65. Seals. The Instructional Design Movement in Educational Technology. Educational Technology, May 11-15. http://www.co.uk.edu/courses/q in6373/id history/1960.html. Niemeek, R.P., and Wahlberg, H.T. From Teaching Machines to Microcomputers. Some Milestones in the History of Computer-Based Instruction. Journal of Research on Computing in Education, 21, 263-276. Oneta, L., Minogue, J., Holmes, S., and Cheng. Investigation: The Impact of Video Games on High School Students' Engagement and Learning. Genetics, Computers and Education, 53, 74-85. Bainbridge. The Scientific Research Potential of Virtual Worlds. Science, 317, 27, 471-476. Barab, S. Scott, B. Sirhan, S. Goldstone, R. Ingram Goebel, A. Zuiker, S. and Warren. Transformational Play as a Curricular Scaffold. Using Video Games to Support Science Education. Journal of Science Education Technology, 18, 305-320. Bergenjohn, J. Valker, M. Soetet, R. and Skellins, T. Students' Perceptions about the Use of Video Games in the Classroom. Computers and Education, 54, 1145-1156.